Kalki 2898 AD is here. People have been asking us for a long time to review this film. I saw it in the theater. It's open in limited release. And this movie, I mean, we can get in. How do you describe the story to this thing?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
It's like Dune meets Star Wars meets RRR meets Flash Gordon. I kept thinking Flash
and the entire Hindu religion laid over it.
And it's goofy. It's so goofy. You meet these two heroes, and I saw it with an audience, and there were a lot of Indian people in the audience who screamed when certain actors came on screen. There's the character Bharava, and they were screaming. Certain S.S. Rajamouli, the director of RRR, is in the movie in a bit part. If you watch the trailer, it's filled with crazy special effects. It's a futuristic, like dystopian, where there's this place. It's called what's it called again? When you get to go to this paradise place.
I know, the complex.
The complex, where there's food and water, but everywhere down below, people are suffering. There is no water. There's no hope. You can only get to the complex where there is dancing and singing and champagne and beautiful women. And it's beautiful. And this character, Rava, he's kind of like Captain America meets Iron Man meets Spider-Man meets Superman
meets Han Solo.
And he's sort of a goofball, like, oh, my shoes are not charged, or what. He's always making mistakes. He has like a robot digital assistant that's like he's always talking to. He has a guy who's imprisoned in his like vehicle that he's going to turn in one day, but doesn't really care. He's sort of a sidekick, and it's absolutely over the top and goofy. There's a subplot with women getting pregnant. Like no woman has been able to carry a pregnancy past 150 days. That's kind of a big deal. And there's another god that's introduced, god, superhero, whatever, that, you see. It's in Telugu, which is, it's one of the, many languages spoken in India, the predominant being Hindu. I'll say this. It took like 20 minutes to get to the first action sequence, which I thought was hilarious. It's a total Flash Gordon in terms of tone, right? Very goofy. And I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I enjoyed myself. It was so over the top. And some of the effects ranged from really epic to bad. Some of the effects were so bad. It was like Flash Gordon with Sam Jones, where it's just cheesy, but you're invested. And the music is really good. I thought the music was great. That's my overall sort of, overall take on it. Alan, what did you think?
Yeah, I think, well, the impression I got from this movie is I'm a Christian, so if I took the Book of Revelation and made a science fiction movie out of it, that's what this would be. This is deeply steeped. My understanding, look, I'm no expert at all. My understanding is this is kind of the apocalypse of the Hindu religion, and this is kind of where things all end, and this is the final battle between good and evil and the spirit world and all that stuff. That's kind of what we're getting at with this one. And that's why there's a lot of themes of motherhood, of bringing new life. There's a big bad guy who shows up at the end that has to be who takes a droplet of something and becomes this big thing. I can't even explain it. So the reason I mention all this is because there's a lot of culture going on here that I don't understand and I don't know, and definitely the audience I was with understood it all much better than I did. And you're right. I was also with a predominantly Indian audience, and the applause for the appearance of certain people was deafening in mine. Um, I agree with you in the sense of the first half of the movie, the special effects and the fighting scenes were, I think, goofy is the best way to describe it. It just felt like, old sci-fi movies of the 80s, where the action is a little bit clunky, people move a little bit slow. I will say there's one point in which this movie really turned around for me, and that was the arrival of the character known as Roxy. Boy, is she hot. She's like really hot. And for some reason, it was at this point in the movie that it felt like all the special effects in the fighting got better. Like they're finally investing time and energy into making fight scenes look good. And then you get to this battle between Baharava and I forgot the 7-foot tall Gandalf guy.
He was great. I really like
Yeah.
the sequences with him.
Yeah,
Like he's
Axel One Thana, I think that's who it was. So I mean, I don't know that I can the last time I didn't recommend an Indian movie, I got a lot of heat for it. And I feel like I like Jawan, go see that one, but this one I feel like it's going to be a tough one for American audiences to latch into. Not, RRR had themes that Americans can latch into. The idea of freedom, the idea of the Second Amendment, the idea of overcoming the colonizers. Americans understand that. But this one, it just feels like it's written for the Indian audience, and I think there's giant leaps we're gonna have to take to understand. And I feel like the only thing that we can come away with watching this is an appreciation for the culture. I'm not sure, with the exception of Roxy, I'm not sure there's not a whole lot that we're gonna walk away with saying that we're, that this is the must see movie.
Yeah, I'll give it definitely a recommend for me, but with a caveat that this is very, like, if you like weird cinema from other countries, and if you've seen like a lot of Indian films where they go over the top with effects and violence, we've seen like there's lots of clips of things. Like it's not, you're right, it's not as accessible as RRR, but once you get to the second half, and there's a place where there's supposed to be an intermission and they cut it out.
Oh no, we got ours. We got it.
I didn't get it. It said interval, and then it cut right back to the movie.
No.
I was like,
no, we got 10 minutes to go and get my soda refilled and take a bathroom break.
It did not. It needed an interval like there. So whatever, it's fine. But the second half, it really amps up. But you have to know going in, this is as cheesy as Flash Gordon was in the 80s. This is cheesy now. And the cheesiness of it is part of the charm. Like in particular, the third act, when it's so over the top. You're like, all right, you're either in or you're out. So that's why a warning, right? If you don't like that kind of stuff, I mean, look at the trailer. You want to see that for almost 3 hours. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes. If you like that, like, go for it. If you like the old Flash Gordon, sure. This is the tone of it. And it goes. Now, what's crazy is at the end, no, not giving anything away, this is part of a connected universe of heroes. They literally say this is they basically copy the MCU.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I forgot what it was, but very
is
much
it the Kalki cinematic universe. Is that how
the Kalki cinematic universe? This is what's happening, and I was like, all right, fine, give me more, let's go. So
yeah, I mean, I do have to say,
I enjoyed it.
The special effects, the science fiction special effects, felt like a throwback to the 80s.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And there are some really good side characters. That one woman who was riding the sort of hover cycle
Yeah.
that like transformed. That sequence was so goofy. It was funny. I was laughing out
Yeah,
loud
I
for a
mean
lot of it.
that's the thing that yeah, that's the thing that got me was it just seemed like that the special effects got better at the end in the second half.
Yes.
And that for the
Especially
first half, I mean, the first half, the movie being so long, it was like I'm just not getting into this. It's just yeah, it may be a throwback to the 80s, but we're not in the 80s anymore.
right. Right. But I give it a recommend if you are open to something goofy, Flash Gordon like, influenced by. It's weird because the story is very Indian,
Hmm.
very in terms of themes and characters
Yeah, it's
and
very
lore,
entrenched in the Hindu religion.
but it's also very influenced by American action movies.
Yeah, sci-fi
Like
action.
sci-fi, like Flash Gordon, like Dune, like Marvel, very much Marvel, even Mad Max in a way, because a lot of it is in the desert, and they've set up for bigger things to happen in the continuing story. So I like it. I'll go see part two, whatever it is. And it says Roger Malie doing a weird cameo in like a Road Warrior like vehicle was kind of funny. Like that's for the diehards. And yes, there are dance sequences and singing, but they don't, not as many as
Barely.
RRR.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a yeah.
There
I
are a
expected
few
more.
breakout moments.
I expected longer and I expected bigger.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that.
But I think, do you recommend
I
Kalki
don't.
2898
I'm
AD?
sorry. Yeah.
Oh, so we split.
Uh, yeah, I
Rec-
just no, I mean I get so much heat for it. It's just look, you know, I just couldn't access it well. Couldn't grasp onto it. And you know, like I'm not gonna go out and tell my non-Indian friends to go that you're gonna have a great time with this.
Well, RRR to me is the gold standard. And this is sort of the fast food version of a lot of what, because I've seen other films, other Indian films like KGF, among others, which I like KGF. It's
Yeah.
on Amazon. You can see that. So check it out if you are open to it. If not, there you go.